voice of Lagos.
It's Talk Point again on Lagos Television. My name is Omololu Rosanwo. On Talk Point today, we'll be looking at politicians and party defections. That should be a source of concern to every Nigerian as the trend is getting up gradually. And party defections dates back to the early part before the independence, specifically in 1951, when the NCNC under Chief Nnamdi Azikiwe held sway, and under Chief Obafemi Awolowo of the Action Congress, which also held sway then, and he also eventually became the premier of the Western region. Ever since that has happened, there have been defections from one party to another. And very, very recently, the People's Democratic Party was hit by some politicians who also moved from another party to the APC. Those are the things we'll be looking at today. And I have, coincidentally, a public affairs analyst, a media consultant, and also an entrepreneur. And coincidentally, again, he wrote a write-up on defections on a one-party state, which we'll be discussing also today. Mr. Bolawole, you're welcome to Lagos Television Stock Point.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes. With that introduction, your write-up actually spoke about a one-party state, which you say Nigeria is tilting towards, and you're also not blaming the politicians on the other part because it may be of self-interest where they say, well, Nigerians did not put them there when they were also going through the stress and everything. Now, when we look at this, what are we talking about? Is Nigeria tilting towards a one-party state?
Yeah, thank you very much. What I have always said, and what I said in the article that I wrote that was published in the national newspaper yesterday, is that Nigeria is already a one-party state when you look at it in the real sense of the word. All the political parties belong to the same ideological spectrum. So they are all capitalist-oriented political parties. The only difference there is in nomenclature, it's just the names. Whether you call it APC or you call it PDP or you call it a Labour Party, even the one that's supposed to be a Labour Party, it's also a party that is peopled by capitalists. The presidential candidate in the last election is a capitalist to the core. So we don't even see what is Labour in it. And when you also talk of other parties like Social Democratic Party, there's nothing social democratic about it. You find a situation now where people in APC, like El Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State, is moving to that party. So what is social democratic about Nasir El Rufai that is now moving to a social democratic party? So we have parties in Nigeria that are all capitalist oriented. We don't have parties like you have in other countries, like maybe Britain, where you say this is a liberal party. Maybe say this is a Labour Party that is tilting towards Labour. This is a Liberal Party that is tilting towards the center. Here now, all these political parties are capitalist oriented, and they practice the same programs. We don't have a welfareist party like we had in the First Republic, when we have the action group of Chief Obafemi Awolowo that was a welfareist party that was implementing welfareist programs like free education, free health services, full employment, and things like that. But here now we have parties that are all implementing the same capitalist economic system. So it's only the name that differs. And that is why you find that it is very easy for them to move around. You can move from this party to that party because there is no difference between the parties. And you discover that there is hardly any politician in Nigeria today that has not moved from one party to the other. Some have moved and they have gone back. They have Japa and they have Jakpada in the same party. So
Yes.
you now want to be asking yourself, what is all this? All this
Yeah, but in all this, you still have some politicians that have not left the party. Take, for instance, Chief Bode George has never left the People's Democratic Party, and he's still very much in that party, saying, look, we have to still be in the opposition to ensure that things go right. They have to put in checks any party in government.
I beg your pardon, what is the relevance, so to say, of Chief Bode George in PDP? It's because he's not contesting election. If he's contesting election, he will look at the political party that can best propel his chances. Because he's not contesting election.
Yes.
If he's contesting election, he will not stay in a party where he knows that he cannot win election. He will want to move to a party where he thinks that his chances of winning election are more robust. So those who are moving because of, number one, they are looking for platforms that can best allow them to actualize their interest, their vision, their mission. Number two, there are people who are also looking for political appointments. So Chief Olabode George has got to a level in his career. He had been a former governor. He had been a former PSO to Olabode, to General Dia. He had been chairman of NPA, the Nigerian Ports Authority. He had also been a top Ekelon member of the PDP. Maybe now he does not need much and he's not asking for much. Maybe he's a contented person. So if he's looking for appointment, or if he's looking for contracts, or if he's looking to contest elections, he too will have moved. Of course, there are some other people like him that have not moved. He's not the only one that has not moved.
Yes, I was about saying that.
Technically, when you are looking at it, you will say that maybe somebody like the present president has not moved, even though his parties have changed and they have merged. He used to be in AD. From AD, he broke ranks with AD and formed the Action Congress. From there, they had Action Congress of Nigeria when other people joined them. And from there, they merged with other parties and they came up with APC. So you find that even in that area, you can say that technically, they have moved. So virtually every Nigerian politician seeking political office, always they tend to move from one party to the other.
Yes, we'll still come back to that, but let me ask you, Section 40 gives them room to move to freedom of expression, freedom of movement. Is that section not also likely to further allow them to move?
That is a problem we have with our Constitution. That's why one of the reasons people are saying that the 1999 Constitution is part and parcel of the problems that we have in this country, that you have to either amend those sections of the Constitution that are impeding our progress, or you totally jettison that Constitution and either go back to the 1960 Constitution, which was the Constitution that was negotiated by the politicians, the leaders of Nigeria at independence, or you move to 1963 Constitution, where you had the four regions, the northern region, western region, midwestern region, and then the eastern region. That this Constitution is ambivalent in many areas. That Constitution says that freedom of movement, says that everyone has a freedom to move, to form associations, to advance their own interest. So what the Constitution says you have a right to advance is your own interest. It's not the national interest. It's not the interest of the people. So if a politician finds that his interest will be better advanced in another party, he will move from his own party to that other party. And the Constitution does not absolutely prevent defection. It only sets conditions. And those conditions can easily be met by the politicians that are moving.
Okay. Let's look at, since you mentioned that now, I think we should just move also to Section 187, subsection 1, 2, and 3, which speaks to the governors having powers to move if it is not based on personal interest.
Yes.
If any governor moves from one party to another, is it a collective interest or interest of the people, or is personal interest?
You see, when politicians want to move, what do they always say? They say, my people. My people say that we should move to so and so. In the one that happened in Delta, what did they say? They said it was a collective decision of all of them. It was everyone in the party, all the structures. So in that case, they are trying to tell you that they are not moving because of their personal interest. They are moving because they all came together and they all agree that it is in the interest of Delta State that they should move from an opposition party to the ruling party so that the interests of the state can better be served, so that they can go into the mainstream of Nigeria's politics and they can get their own shares of the federal largesse.
Are they not getting the shares of the federal largesse before now?
They feel that they will be better able because they will have more access because now they belong to the ruling party. So the doors will open to them better than before. So the Constitution allows for that loophole for governors to say that we are moving not because of our personal interest. A governor that you know that is moving simply because he wants to contest second term, somebody that you know is moving simply because he thinks that this political party will be a better option for him to win an election, will still come and tell you that he is moving in the interest of his people. And then they will also now do it in such a way that they will now get their people, some people to come together, contribute money, and buy nomination forms for them, to give an impression that it is not, somebody will even tell you it's against their personal wish and desire. Like somebody told us, it's not my personal wish and desire to become head of state, but he went there all the same. So they will tell you that it's not their personal desire, it's my people. My people said I should go and represent them. My people said we should move to this party. My people said we should do. So the Constitution allows it. It creates that loophole for them to use. And for even members of the National Assembly.
Yes, I was coming to that. That's section 68 too.
There's also a loophole for them.
Ditto for the State Assembly, section 109.
There's a loophole for each of them. Insofar as you are defecting from a party that is divided, that if there's a division within your party, or if the party is merging with another party, so you can now have the right to defect. Now the problem is that it is easy to create crisis within parties. You can contrive crisis within the party and say that the reason why I'm moving is because there is crisis in my political party.
But since you have mentioned that, I think we should also still look at it holistically. And is there no crisis, or are there no crises in the ruling, the People's Democratic Party? Because that gives room for some people to move out, while some say they're going to stay there and rebuild it.
It depends on how you interpret it. And that also leaves a big job for our judiciary. How would the judiciary interpret this kind of thing? Fortunately now, the PDP has said that they are going to court. So when they go to court, let us see what they are going to prove, what they are going to advance there, and let us see what the judiciary will say, the judge will say. Because now we have a party where in 2023, 5 of their governors broke ranks with that party and supported other presidential candidates different from their own. We have a party now where some of the leaders are in merger talks with other parties, while others are saying count us out. So now can you, in all righteousness, say that there is no crisis within that party? We have a party where a former governor of that party is a minister in the ruling party, which is opposition party to them. And you have all manner of shenanigans going on in that political party. So is it not easy for anyone now to say that there is crisis in that party? A party that is in major talks with other parties, are you not going to say that there is evidence of some crisis? So if somebody else says that I don't want a merger with, they are going, okay, PDP is talking merger with Labour, and somebody says I don't want to belong to Labour, then I want to leave. So are you going to say that the person does not have genuine reasons based on the provisions of the Constitution to leave that party? So you find a situation where our laws are not as clear-cut. Our Constitution is not as clear-cut on defection as other country's constitution. In some other countries, you cannot defect and still remain in that your office. You can't defect, but once you defect, you must vacate your office, your position. If you are a governor elected on the basis of, on the platform of a political party, and you want to leave that political party, you must resign as a governor. If you are a member of the National Assembly or a member of the House of Assembly and you want to resign from that party, you want to defect from that party to another party, you must resign from that office. You cannot go away with the booty that you got from that particular party. The price that you got from that particular party that you are leaving, you must leave the price behind. As you are leaving the party, leave the price behind, leave the office behind. But now what happens is that you go with the trophy. That is what is happening now. And because the Constitution leaves that loophole, which people are exploiting, to leave a party and leave with the office, with the price.
Yeah, in your write-up, there was a former governor in the Southwest that said that politics is of personal interest and not a public interest. Can we further explain that, because I don't think the audience will not really understand, because you have been elected to be in a position, and when you now get there and you want to take certain decisions, are you not supposed to get back to the people to say, look, I want to take step A, B, and C. You put me there, I want to seek your advice before I move.
You see, what he was trying to say is that based on the Constitution, freedom of association, you are associating, the Constitution says you are associating to advance your interests, not national interest, not the people's interest. It is your own interest. It is you that decided that you want to be governor. It is you that knew how you manipulated your way, went around it to become governor. That was what I was trying to say. And it is you, when the chips are down, that we face the music. Like we find now that if the FCC comes after you, if SCPC comes after you, if anything happens, it is you that you will face it. You won't find, in Nigeria, you don't generally find the people rising in defense or in support of anybody. Maybe because they have not performed well in office. Maybe if you perform well in office, and after you leave office, any adversity comes your way, maybe the people will rally around you, thinking about how good they have served their purpose. But what that line of thought also fail to realize is that they take oath of office and oath of allegiance. And the oath of office they take is not to their personal self. It is to the nation. The allegiance they hold is to the people. So if you have taken an oath of office that you are going to do your best, you are going to serve the interests of the people, you are going to be loyal to the people and to the people that elected you, then even if it was your own personal interest that propelled you to get into that office, immediately you get to that office and you take that oath of office, you automatically become liable to fulfilling your oath of office to your electors. You become liable to fulfilling your oath of office to your country. And don't forget also that when they are campaigning, they always promise the people heaven and earth. And they always print manifestos detailing what they will do in office. Nobody prints a manifesto and says that when I get into this office, I'm going to embezzle money. I'm going to serve only my own personal interest. None of them gets into office and says that when I get there, I'm not going to build roads. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to get there and enjoy myself. They print manifestos where they promise heaven and earth, where they promise that we'll do this, we'll do that. Some of them will even say that within 1 month, if I don't do this, cut off their head, cut off my head, do this and do that. But we've discovered that most of the time, all these manifestos that they print and all these promises that they make, they hardly can fulfill them. Some of it because they overpromise. Let me use that word, they overpromise. They promise things that they think can make them win elections, which they knew when they were making the promise was not realizable. Or some of them, they didn't know, but on getting there, the situation they met on ground, when they got there, made it impossible for them to fulfill some of those promises. But it is not I don't think that it is appropriate for anyone to say that I'm in office simply to serve my own personal interest, because the Constitution has said that I am there to advance my own interest. Therefore, when I get there, I will only advance my own interest. What of the promises you made while you were campaigning? What of the promises you made to the people before you got into that office? What becomes of all your manifesto? What becomes of all your programs? What also becomes of the program of your party? Because all of you, there are no independent candidates in Nigeria today. There are no independent candidates. You all get into office on the platform of one political party or the other.
Yes.
And these political parties, they have manifestos. In the case of the AG, in that time, you have free education, you have free health, you have full employment, you have this and that. So all these parties have manifestos. And you, as somebody elected on the platform of that political party, you are duty bound to implement the programs, the plans and policies of your party. And those plans and programs and policies are not your personal interest. They are the interest of the people. Because it is only when you do that that you can also merit re-election. It is also when you do that, when you implement your plans and programs, and the people are happy with you, that your party can be popular with the people. It is then also that your party can win election without rigging, without intimidating the people, without buying votes.
Yes, as we round up now, because we need to also leave the studio, there are possibilities that more political parties may defect, looking at some states like Akwa Ibom, Kano, maybe another state again, Rivers, I don't know. Now, if these things happen, are we not saying, look, we are supporting one particular party, not looking at the role of opposition in ensuring that we have a better society?
Even now that these people are not defecting, do we have opposition in the real sense of the word? You see, opposition is not just going to social media and shouting and abusing the president or the governor. Opposition is, like in the UK, for instance, you have what they call a shadow government. You have an opposition that also have, they will also have all their own ministers and things like that. And you will be critiquing the policies of the government, their policy on housing, their policy on health, their policy on education, their policy on security, their policies on tax reforms and things like that. We don't have anything like that here from the opposition people. We don't have them tell us, okay, the government has removed fuel subsidy. If we were the one there, this is how we will do it. The government has done this to Forex. If we were the one there, this is what we will do. On security, this is what we will do. On education, this is what we will do. We don't have that from the opposition.
Okay.
So in the real sense, we don't have vibrant opposition in Nigeria as it is now.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I want to appreciate you so much, Mr. Bolawole, for being part of Talk Point today. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes, sir, we've been talking on party defections. We've been looking at politicians and party defections, and he's also been giving his views on what it should have been or what it should be. On that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767 and 112 are still the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Be part of those that will build Nigeria so that it can get better. I am Omololu Roson, signing out.